Okay, so my name is Kemi Lewis, and I always like to introduce myself as a lawyer turned natural hair stylist, salon owner, and educator. Um, thank you. I got called to the bar in January 2001, which is how many years ago? 24, wow, 24 years ago. So I have been a lawyer for about 24 years. However, at some point in time in my life, I felt a need to deviate from that and start something for myself. And that is how, I guess at some point we'll get into that story. And that's how my business started with the natural hair salon. At a time where there was no such thing as a natural hair salon. So my salon was sort of like one of the pioneers at that time. And so that's what I have been doing for the past 12 years now, because my business just turned 12 in August last month, yeah. And from just having a salon, we've been able to grow that from an initial 2 people, 2 staff, and 2 chairs to now I have 3 locations. We have over 50 staff. We have a product line. We have an academy, and we also have online training courses. So that's me in a short. Thank you. So I've always liked hair. I went to QC, and I was that person in QC who would do my friend's hair. I'll just be weaving everybody's hair the Sunday before, school resumed on Monday when I was in boarding school. When I was doing my master's at the University of Dundee, I also used to make hair on the side, just for extra cash. So I've always liked hair. However, I went natural in 2012. I had been away in the States. Then I moved back, and I realized there was nobody that knew what to do with natural hair. Even my own old hairdresser had no clue what to do with natural hair. And it was just, it was frustrating. Now, at this time, I also wanted to do something, but at that time, I didn't know what exactly it was I wanted to open. So I went to see a friend of mine who had been she'd been a classmate from when I was in QC, and I said to her, because incidentally she had just opened up a salon, and I said, Bobby, I just have this feeling that I should do something for myself, and I just don't know what it is I should do. And she just looks at me and she goes, but Kemi, you've always known how to do hair. You now have natural hair. There are so many people that have natural hair. They don't know what to do. Why don't you just open up a natural hair salon? And literally that was my light bulb moment, and I'm like, oh, that's true. And for me, it just pointed out, the importance of just surrounding yourself with people who really know you and are able to, shine the light on things that sometimes are in your blind spots or you don't really know, about yourself. The initial vision really was just to have a safe space where people with natural hair can come and just get their hair done without being yanked, without being abused. What is this on your hair? Things like you did, so you didn't have to go through all of that. So you just had a safe space, and people who knew what they were doing, knew how to hold, how to the right techniques, what the right products to use. That was the initial, the vision. Over time, that has evolved because I realized, as we went on, I realized that there's this deep-rooted thing in all of us growing up where the beauty standards that are being dictated to us, come not from us, but from another, from the Western world, for want of a better term. And for me, it just said, you know what, it's better that we dictate that because it's our own hair, it's our own beauty. Why should we, be dictated to by what other people are saying? Why don't we set our own standards for ourselves? So for me, then that brought up the tagline, redefining beauty for the African woman, one natural strand at a time. That's the tagline for my business. And because I know I can't physically do every single natural person's hair, so I said, okay, so how are we able to have this movement go? And that's where training came into it. So that way I'm able to train other people who can then go and do the same thing in their salons, and then, have then train, their own team members. And then that way we have more people who are able to reach people with natural hair and show them that your natural hair is beautiful. It can be styled in so many different ways. You don't have to have bone straight wigs or hey, no offense to Bond Street, I'm just saying that should not be the standard for whether you're beautiful or not. So really, that is how that had then, that has evolved over time.
Okay, so I feel like I want to start from the beginning. One major issue I feel that business owners have is funding. So everyone has this exciting idea. I want to, like you said, I want to one natural hair at a time, at a time.
Yeah.
But then the salon costs money, and the people cost money, and everything costs money. So how did you start? Did you have backing from investors? Did you use your personal money? So I'd like to hear that funding story.
The funding. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to start small. Because first of all, I didn't have money for anything big anyway. So the plan was to start small, but it was really because I also wanted to make sure that I made my mistakes on a low scale. I didn't want to, have this massive thing and then, we are making advertisements and then you are just messing up. But since we're just starting, if we make mistakes, at least, we'll just keep it in-house. But in terms of funding, I literally, because remember, I'd been working as a lawyer, so I did have some savings. But I sunk everything that I had into my business because for me it was, there was no turning back. I sunk everything. I even remember I had this insurance policy. It was a life insurance that also doubled as an investment policy or something, to the tune of 850,000. I remember I went in and I said, please, can I have this money? Because the rents for our first job there in Dolphin Estate was 800,000 and I needed money. So that was how, so literally it was me just dipping into everything I had, this savings, break this, break that. So when I started, I was literally starting again from ground zero. However, having said that, right now there's so many different opportunities. There's so many different programs. There's so many different things that people actually have access to, and it's not the way it used to be when I first started. So compared to that, business owners now, or people who are planning to start their businesses, they have more options, so many more options. Whether it's with banks, you have Access Bank with the W initiative. You have so many different things that are open now. So again, once you're able to network right, ask the right questions, go to the right place, you will find funding as long as your business idea makes sense. So I don't have investors, still don't have investors, still 100% me. But the way I've been able to package my story is really just be authentic. And also, again, remember what I had said earlier about sometimes there are things that you don't see because they're in your blind spots. So you want to leave room open for feedback from your friends, your family, your team members, your staff, and your customers. Now, doing that, you're then able to gather as much information as possible and then create a story that actually, is authentic to you and authentic to the vision that you have. And that really is what I've been able to do. Not a lot, in the beginning, I really didn't think, I wasn't interested in what my story was. My own was, look, I'm starting this thing. This thing had better work. It wasn't until we started to move on and things happened. Oh, what happened? How did you start? And I'm like, oh, this is how and then I just realized the power in telling my story and then just made a concerted effort to make sure that, I'm able to put the different segments and aspects together to make one cohesive story. So at the time I started, again, because it was me all in, this really just had to work. And the more people said to me, you want to leave law to become a hairdresser. My mother used to go to MFM. Let me just say that here. So you can imagine the kind of prayers that were going, because she didn't nobody understood. I used to work as a company secretary in a public-private partnership with Nigerian Post Authority and an international body. I was making great money at the time, I had left, even though I left like a year or two before this. But, my trajectory, as they had seen as a legal person, they just couldn't comprehend why you would leave that and then become a hairdresser. And then you say, oh, it's a natural hair. What is a natural hair salon? It just was incomprehensible. However, I had my own personal conviction. I knew, because before this started, I knew I wanted to start something. And then I had that nudge, with the Holy Spirit to go and speak with my friend, who then said, why don't you just, start a natural hair salon? You've always known how to. So the way things had been happening, I knew that this wasn't just me waking up and just being, very, what's the word, have like a fluff ball or whatever. My steps were being directed. But the more opposition I got, I said, you know what, God, I need to know, is this thing that I'm doing, does it make sense, or am I just really about to fool myself? And I remember a friend of mine, she's not Tola Olashiri, she invited me to a fellowship. I forget the name of the lady who was there then, fantastic. But I went there, and I remember I went there with an almost broken spirit, because I had so much going on. And I said, God, if this is what it is that you want me to do, please just let me know. So that, there's so many people saying all sorts of things around me. I'm getting confused. I'm not sure, And then I got my confirmation there with something that she had said. And then and there I said, okay, so this is it. So clearly I know. So from then on, anything anybody said to me, I'm like, so don't worry. I'll just smile. It's okay. Don't worry. I know. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm fine. Yes, I'm okay. So, and again, you have people coming to you because they love you, and it's coming from a good place. They are well-meaning, but they don't see what you see. They don't have the conviction that you have. So once you have your own conviction, once you have gone to your secret place, you've spoken to God, and He has shown you what it is that He has for you. Just run, because people won't see it. It is now that my mom, this is my daughter. She has it now. She has this. But I know what I went through 12 years ago when it was like, this girl, my village people, and everything. So once you have your conviction, just stick to it. Just hold on to God. He will show you. Again, there's nothing, there's nothing that He's not aware of. He knows the end from the beginning. So just take it to Him, and He will show you, and then just give it back to, because I always say, God, this business, you're the one that gave it to me. So you are the chairman. You just it's true. You just put me in charge of it. So what have we, this today, what is it that we're supposed to do with this so that we can move forward? And that really is what, you just do. And that's really how I've just, run my business. As I said, we were the first natural hair salon that called itself that. And, we had so many people coming. And then, of course, you know how it is. Everybody starts to do, their own thing, and we're natural hair salon. But one of the things, I'm very big on training. I am huge on training because I believe that if you don't keep sharpening your sword or your axe, it will get blunt and you will lose whatever advantage it is that you had right from the get-go. So I'm big on training in terms of, constantly training staff, whether it's on soft skills, when it comes to customer, service and experience, or the actual technical skills of what it is that we do. And then I also got to a point in time where I said, I'm going to systemize this business so that it can run whether I am there or not. And in order to systemize a business, you need to empower people. They need to know what their roles and their responsibilities are. They need to be able to take ownership. So in order to systemize and ensure that, it is running as a business, you then do all these things and have people that you're delegating, you're hiring, you're training, you're empowering, and they have a sense of ownership in, the actual business. So I believe that for me, those two things, I was able to, because I still get people, and I do a lot of feedback with my clients. I ask them questions like, why do you keep coming to us? What is it about us, that keeps bringing you? Because I want to know. I need to know so that whatever our strengths are, I can build upon that. And then whatever the weaknesses, I can then start to work on that. And, I found that a lot of things they kept saying, recurring things they would say would be things like, even when you guys, you don't get it right or you do something wrong, the way you talk to us, the way you talk to me, the approach, you're still warm, so it then helps me feed or create a training that I'm able to feed into my business and into my staff. And that way everybody's on the same page. And we know that, okay, so these are the things we need to really work on to make sure that our clients keep coming back to us. So really, that's it. I've cried some hot tears as a business owner, particularly a business owner in Nigeria. I've cried some very hot tears. My initial challenges centered around managing people. Because when you hire somebody into your business, they're coming from many different backgrounds. They have been conditioned by many different things, whether from their home, whether from wherever they have worked before. So they come with all sorts of ideas, all sorts of values that don't fit into your value system. So that initially used to be so, because I just didn't understand, why somebody would think a certain way or do so. I'm like, because for me it was just common sense. It was just common sense. But I then realized that no, we are not all exposed to the same thing. We all have different backgrounds, different conditioning, different environments that we're coming from. So it was then my duty to ensure that when I hire people, one of the first things I do is start what I call a brainwashing period. Yes, I call it brainwashing because that's really what it is. And it has to last throughout the time that they spend with you. It cannot just be a one-off. So it's really, again, it's reiterating, the company policy, the company value. What is our vision? When we have meetings, we start off, everybody recites the vision. Everybody recites the values. If you are doing something wrong, and I point to you, I'm like, does this look like, for instance, one of our values is professionalism. It is warmth. I'm like, does this look professional? Do you understand? So I'm able, so it's a constant. Because if you don't do that consistently, I found that, you talk once, it's like you're just talking, and then you now talk 6 months later, you'll be shouting. So when I got tired of shouting, I then realized what I needed to do. So for me, it was just human, just that human as managing, because you have people, oh my goodness, that will test, they will test you. Then, of course, it then became the systems, that would ensure that people will not steal from you because they have stolen from you. Well, I won't even deny it, So that also was something that made me, I found one of my older staff, and two of them actually, I found them stealing, and it really broke me. It really, really hurt me. I remember I cried because I just felt pained, I felt betrayed, I felt violated, so many different things. But again, you cry, then you're like, okay, we finished crying. So what do we do to ensure that this doesn't happen? So, inventory control, checks and balances. What are you doing in your business? So again, for me, we thank God that, the ups have been a whole lot more than the downs. But, when the downs come, you cry, you are in your feelings. But then I've been able to use all those down times or scenarios as an avenue to find where loopholes exist, where our systems are weak, and where we can then say, okay, so let's build this, let's do this, so that, I reduce the crying. I've not cried in at least 1 year. Yeah, so for me, that's good. That's fantastic. So it's for me, that's what I've, so yeah, so those are for me where the main challenge is human, and then the stealing, which of course is still human, but again, it's just training, human resource management, and then inventory control, and also systems to put in place to ensure that, and then testing those systems for me. So those were my main challenges. And first of all, I don't, it got to a point where this was when I just had the first location, and I realized I didn't want, because I don't want to say I was slowly killing myself, but when you're doing everything, I understand. I mean, it's a desire that you have, especially if your business, you're putting your life into it. I called Dolphin my first baby, because that was where everything started. So there's this want, you want to do everything, you want to be there all the time, but there's only so much that there's only so long that can sustain you for. I got to a point, I'm like, what, this cannot, it can't happen. Especially when I knew I wanted to open other locations. I'm not going to be driving Lekki, Ikoyi, Ogba. It can't happen. So once I knew that, that's what I wanted to do, then that's where this, systemizing things comes into place, where, you have your policies, you have the systems in place, and then you're training and empowering people. I have a meeting. I have, salon managers and I have a general manager. We meet every Monday, 10 a.m. without fail. We've been doing that for years. Where I'm able, okay, so what's happened in your location? What's going on here? And then this is our vision. This is what we're going to do. We have a strategy meeting at the beginning of the year. So for me, it's to brainwash. As I said, is that constant meeting, is the constant feeding them with the things that you want them to do, want them to know, and then also operating a system that has both a carrot and a stick. Not just a stick where it's every time you've done this and then you're punishing them, you've done this, you're abusing them, I don't abuse people. Nobody can come and say, they can accuse me that I shout on them or I've, uttered a curse word against them. I do, because they are all human beings. People want to be treated well. They want to be treated nicely. So I just ensure that, we have our system that has a carrot and a stick. You do this wrong, this is what is going to happen to you. You do this right, this is what you're going to get. So everybody knows that, to be on the straight and narrow is more beneficial than not. So they do that. And then, of course, we have our constant training. We have our constant meeting. I meet with the top so that whatever I'm saying, to the management there is being cascaded down. And I meet with them as well. We have, I have an open door policy. So it's many different things, that just centers around ensuring that I'm pouring into them my vision. I'm speaking to them. They see me. I lead by example. You will never see me being rude to a client. You will never see me insulting a staff member. You will never see me. Do you understand? So how I want you to act is how I am acting. I won't say one thing and then I'm doing something completely different. So all of that, put together has just made sure that regardless of where you are, whether you're in Lekki, whether you're in Dolphin Estate, whether you're in Ogba, the staff know exactly what they should be doing. They know the policies to follow. They know the systems that are in place. And they know that if I do this wrong, this is what is going to... I've had to fire people for going against... It is what it is, but you knew exactly what you shouldn't have been doing and you did it anyway. So that really is what it is. So again, it's just making sure that your staff members feel like they're part of something. Nobody wants to feel like they're being used just for your own benefits. It's all about madam. Everything that we're doing here. Do you understand? So, and it goes beyond just, I've found that it goes beyond just monetary stuff. Even something as simple as recognizing the person. So for instance, what we do at KLs is, first of all, in the year, everybody gets a salary, of course, but we have 2 times in the year where you get an increase in salary. The first one I do as a matter of, yes, everybody gets an increase once a year, just to take inflation into consideration. The second one is based on your performance, because we do an appraisal twice a year, middle of the year and then end of the year. So if you do well in your appraisal, then you also, you also get an increase. So you have the potential to get 2 increases in 1 year, because one is guaranteed, the other is not. You have that. For the stylists in the organization, they also get a retail commission. So from their training, they are trained about, the products that we retail, because we retail our own products and also products from others. So they get training on products, ingredients, what works and all of that. So if you're able to then retail products to your clients, you get a commission from what it is that you retail. Something as simple as, we have an agreement with the cake company, for instance. They have a list of all staff and their birthdays. So on their birthday, regardless of what location you're in, you get a birthday cake, from KL. Just to say happy birthday. Thank you. So, with this, they feel like they belong. They feel like you see them. If there's an issue, we have policy, whether you're getting married, this is what happens. You lose somebody, this is what happens. So, and then another thing I realized was one of the main things for staff is transportation. Right, and how that was eating into, their money, their time, even our time. So I then figured out that it was, in the long run, it was actually cheaper for me to get accommodation for staff. That way, if they're staying on site or close to site, they spend less on transport, they spend less time, in traffic. and they don't come and they're not frazzled and tired and irritated, and they're able to work and really give it their all. So a combination of this and so many other things, it makes them say, okay, so, they are staying here because they know that they know that you care, they know that you are giving them, what they need, you're seeing them, you're rewarding them, and they're happy. I know they won't stay there forever, but for the time that they're there, they know that, we are doing as much as we can to make sure that they're happy. So in terms of keeping our competitive advantage, one thing that initially I realized, or early on, I realized was very easy to do, is to lose focus of why you started in the first place. And that is very easy, especially now that we have social media. You see people, in your own space, they're doing this, you are doing that. So there's this temptation. I dance on my own personal before my own. I don't dance with anybody. I haven't even danced in a long time. All sorts of things. So there's this temptation to want to jump on different trends, and then you do that, and you then end up losing the essence of who you are and why you started. So in terms of keeping our competitive advantage, remember I said I do a lot of feedback, with my clients, and one of the things that they had said then was warmth. And that was a recurring theme or recurring word I would hear. So I actually then adjusted our values to include warm, so that, it's something that we actually talk on and practice to ensure that we continue to be warm. Now, what makes us different? It's really the way we treat our clients. It doesn't mean that, we won't do the hair right, but also people want to feel good. People want to go where they are appreciated. Do you understand? But but again, we also need to ensure that technically we're still sound. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, because again, yes, different hairstyles will come out. I say this day, I say to my staff, I'm like, we are not going to sacrifice the health of hair on the altar of a beautiful style. Because there's so many beautiful styles that are coming up, doesn't mean that we have to do every beautiful style. Because again, it's not every beautiful hairstyle you see on Instagram that is good for your hair or for your edges. So let's not fall into that trap of wanting, this is the new thing. Let's jump here. No, because again, remember, the main focus is the health of you and the beauty of your own hair. So for me, in keeping our competitive advantage, it's just the same thing. It's just training, and then tweaking here and keeping up, of course, with innovation, keeping up with what is happening, but again, making sure that it's still within the purview of what our vision, our mission, and what our values are, so that we don't lose focus of why exactly we are in business. Okay, so I remember when COVID happened and everybody was home. I remember the day I had to sit everybody down and say, we're going to have to shut our doors. Ogba opened December 2019. So Ogba had been open for barely 3 months when COVID happened. So I'm like, okay, so this is happening. I actually shut down even before the government said everybody should go home, because I was like, this thing is getting out of hand. So you can imagine, this is us, a daily income bringing business, and then all of a sudden is crickets. It's nothing. So that will very quickly make your brain your brain will start to work. So of course, prior to this, of course, I was already doing trainings. The trainings I was doing then was more centered around how to create natural hair updos, because I love natural hair updos. I feel like natural hair updos showcase our natural hair in ways that we are not really used to seeing, and just shows how beautiful and versatile it is. But, at this time when COVID then happened, it was like, okay, so everybody's home. What's happening? And I said to myself, I'm showing a lot of my clients, they're probably home. They don't know what to do with their hair. They're probably suffering in silence. So why don't we then do something that will help everybody? So I then started to do what was an at home, wash your day at home with me. Now, luckily, I'm big on data as well. I collect data. I collect your name, your email, your phone number. So, of course, we have all of that information. So I was then able to, send email and say, what, we're going to do this. We're going to do a wash your hair at home with me. So oh my God, yes, show me. So it's like, okay. So then had the initial Zoom on where I'm like, okay, so This is how detangle, section your hair, detangle like this, then you're going to wash like this, and do all of that. And it was such a welcome thing for a lot of people, because a lot of them, they had no clue as to what they were supposed to do. And then I said, okay, so for them to wash their hair, they're going to need products, aren't they? Yes. All right. So, yeah. Then we hadn't really started producing our products on the scale that we're doing that now. So I just reached out to people who were already producing, their product. I'm like, I need to partner with you. Can we have, A, B, C, D, E? Then I created packages. So package A, package B, package C. C is for children, A is for this, C is if you have dandruff. And then, I would have that delivered to the house. And then in my house, I'll just be doing different packages. People will put in their orders online, and then I mail it to them, and you know how to wash your hair because I'm sending you products. So again, when it comes to pivoting, you just need to be able to read the atmosphere and then be ready. If I didn't have the data that I had in terms of my customer data, if I hadn't already been, looking on how to, do stuff in the online space, I wouldn't have been ready. I'd have just been sitting there miserable for however many months we were locked away. But, having, being prepared, make sure you have your data is key, because data will let you know what it is you need to do, will let you know what's happening in your business. How often are people coming? What is the average spend per person? What is your occupancy rate? What is your retention rate? Who spends the most if you want to reward your customers at the end of the year? So your data is such a huge thing. If you keep track of your data, it helps you know the right decisions to make. It also gives you the tools that you would need to make certain decisions. The way I was able to do like a wash your hair at home with me with the data that I had. So that was how we were able to pivot. And then once COVID was over, of course, we still, we were like, well, let's start this product thing. And then, we started doing our products even more. So we do our own products. We have an e-commerce site where people can go and purchase their products. I have online courses for people who want to learn how to care for hair, whether by themselves or they want to teach their staff. I have for the bridal hair, whether you for those that are bridal hairstylists, but they want to know how to style natural hair in a bridal way. And then about 2 years ago, I launched building a profitable beauty business, because one of the I used to get a lot of people who have either salons or beauty business, and they're like, Kemi, how do you do it? You have all these locations. How are you able to maintain the same standard? And I was like, okay. So when I had spoken to me, I was like, what? Why don't I just put this thing into a course, which is what I did, and I have that online. So, and then you have people, they just buy, they purchase, and they read it, and it's been fantastic so far. So for me, that's how I've been able to pivot into all these different things that bring income in. I also have a couple of ebooks again on here. So really, that's how I've just been able to pivot. So I'll start from the second. My leadership style is quite informal, although I have learned to infuse that with a bit of, I wouldn't say formality, but just a bit of more, what's that? Yes, boundaries, because human beings will be human beings. People take calmness or quietness for just being, the opportunity to want to walk all over you. So for me, I just try to find a balance. But in terms of how I've been able to improve myself as a leader, it's really, as I said, I'm big on training. And that training is not just about training my staff, but also making sure that I go for trainings that will benefit me. So whether it's a training, whether it's a workshop, whether it is a book I'm reading, whether it's something that I'm watching online, but something that is going to, show me. And then I ask people questions. I remember asking somebody, can you just say, what do you think my blind spots are? And and the person was like, I usually want to hear this. Because sometimes you have to be ready for the brutal truth, So you want to be ready for honest feedback from people who know you, who see the things that you don't see. Because a lot of times you're doing stuff you don't even realize you're doing. You don't even realize you have a certain way that you respond in certain situations. So for me, I do a lot of, I attend a good number of conferences, webinars, courses. I'll buy books, I'll read them. I just expose myself to things that I know will increase my knowledge, my wisdom, and also how I relate to my staff and also relate to other people. So that, for me, that's really just what I do. the whole essence of running a business is so that you run profitably. You can't run without having profits. But if you remember earlier, I had said not getting caught up with the trends. If they don't fit into what the vision is, then we're not going to touch it. Because for me, impact really is twofold. The first is just to make sure that, to ensure that women that have natural hair, they actually understand, appreciate, and love the hair. Because I find that a lot of women, I don't know I'm still trying to understand what this particular thing is, but it's like we're afraid of the hair that grows out of our scalp. No, sir, I'm not joking. It's literally, we treat it as if it is some external thing. Meanwhile, it is part of your body, so for me, part of my impact is just having, when I hear people tell me, oh, now I understand, my hair is now, is doing so well, it's so softer, it's growing, it's growing longer, oh, God, look at my hair, that hair, we're getting somewhere. So it's that appreciation for yourself and for your own hair, how the hair actually grows out of your scalp. That's on the one side. On the second side, really, is just in terms of capacity building, for the nation. Because when I look at the amount of people that have gone through, training with me, whether it's as stylists in any of our locations or the, stylists from other locations or salon owners or people who just want to start their business, for me, it's just that ripple effect, and I see that impact as just being able to empower people to say, okay, I'm able to build a business that is going to stand the test of time. I know how I'm going to build a business, and be a leader and have the right attitude, have the right approach, and know exactly how to treat my staff so that this is something that, even when I'm long gone, I'll leave a good legacy. So for me, that's what my own impact, looks like, and hopefully that's where we're working towards.
So what habits and practices do you say keep you disciplined and creative?
Habits and discipline. So work ethic. I'm big on good work ethic. I honestly don't understand. Again, okay, let me not digress. But big on good work ethic. I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing well. So I give it my all to ensure that once I start something, I'm focused and I'm going to give it the best that I can to ensure that it comes as it should. I will always be a student of life, a student of my craft. Or if I see anything that, I believe will make me better, I will enroll in that thing, whether I'm listening to, whether it's a soft skill, whether it's something that, just to change my mindset, because mindset is such a huge thing. It's literally if you have the wrong mindset but the right business idea, the business will probably not go anywhere just because, the mindset is wrong. So, just investing, in my craft, investing in myself, whether it's, again, through reading or watching a course online or just going to a seminar or workshop. So those are the things that, I do just to keep me sharp, and even sleeping. Because sometimes, you get so caught up in being busy. You get so caught up in doing everything. So Thursday for me is my day off. I don't leave my house on Thursday, except I absolutely have to. I lock myself in my house. I cook, I eat, I watch TV, I sleep, whatever I want to do, I do. But nobody is seeing me on Thursday. So that, so for me, those are the things, just to make sure that, yes, I'm honing my craft, but at the same time, I'm getting rest, and then that way I keep myself even sharper. If you don't have a vision and you don't write it down, that you won't know. So when different things, we had spoken about social media and when you're just seeing different things. If you don't have a vision that guides you, that acts as your compass, then anything that comes as is, this shiny, what's that syndrome? Shiny effect syndrome or something. Everything that looks shiny, like, oh, let me do this. Do you understand? Then you would then end up doing so many different things that would distract you from the main thing that you really wanted to do. So just have a vision, write the vision down, and you can refine it and hone it as you go. But your vision should always be your guiding star, should be your compass. The second thing I would say is systems, because again, yes, it's great to do everything yourself. It's your business. You want to do this. You think nobody can do it better than you, but you'll be shocked that there's some people that can do some things better than you. So you want to be able to create systems that way. When you start to hire people, it's easy for them to know how to do certain things. It's easy for you to bring people into the business, and they know that, okay, so this is, when I come in the morning, this is the first thing I should do. Then this is the second thing I should do. Then this is the third thing I should do. This is the person who I should give this to. As opposed to keeping everything in your head and then you are shouting at everybody because, don't you know that you should? No, they don't know because you did not train them properly. So just systemize and just write everything down. The third thing I would say is don't stop learning. Just find a way to incorporate some sort of learning. It could be something as simple as a 30 minutes online webinar that you're watching or course. Don't, because every day there are new things that are coming. So you don't, in as much as you don't want to lose your focus, you also don't want to lose your edge, and you don't want to get left behind in terms of new techniques or new whatever innovation has come in your industry. So for me, that's what I would say. First of all, in the next 5 years, I know I would have retired from active salon duty. I've been gradually removing myself. So now I just have a handful of clients that I attend to. So definitely I would have retired from full salon duty, except, it's just something I want to do just for the sake of doing. But, that's what I want to do. I really want to focus on my trainings and speaking aspects. And of course, most importantly, even more than that, is our products, because I believe we have fantastic products, even if I do say so myself. So I really want to, right now we use a contract manufacturer. So I want to explore how, that can be, how that the capacity for that can be increased, and how we can then reach a whole lot more people than we currently do at the moment. So 5 to 10 years, definitely retire from full salon duty, focus on a lot of training, impact-driven training, so that you have more people who know how to run their businesses, their beauty businesses, and also how to handle hair, natural hair, in the right way, and have our products reach the ends of the earth, so to speak. It's so funny. Yesterday, I had a client in the salon somebody I went to secondary school with. She lives in the UK, and she came and, I said, so after all she was like, oh, and she said she's here for 2 weeks. And she said something, she was like, this is where, she goes, Kemi, this is where I come to shop now. She lives in the UK. Let me reiterate now. I'm like, she goes, when I come with like at least 2 suitcases. So, just buy, all the dress, all the Ankara dresses, all the this, all the that. I'm like, eh? And I just said, what? Because when I look at my wardrobe, look at me. I'm wearing Adire. So right now, I think, and I love it. I love the fact that we are so much more appreciative of, homegrown brands and homegrown beauty ideas. For me, that has always been the big thing, which is why, as I had said, our tagline is redefining beauty for the African woman, one natural strand at a time. Because if we keep just looking outside us, when we have so much, we have some of the most beautiful women, this side of the world, some of the most delicious food, some of the most beautiful clothes, some of the gorgeous hair. Our hair is so versatile. If you relax your hair is straight. How many things you want to do to that straight hair? You pack it into a ponytail. No, I'm asking. You let it down too. Have parties set up. Do you understand that with natural hair, I can count 10 things that I would do. I'll do an updo, I will do flat twist, I'll do 2-strand twist, I'll do 3-strand twist, I will do sexy African threading, I will do finger coils, I will do twist and roll, I will do comb twist. I must complete the 10. I will do, no, seriously, I will do the three braid.
I'll do Didi, I'll do
God bless you, Didi. I know, okay, sexy African, Kiko. Do you understand? I've just counted 10. And all of this will give you a different look with the same hair. I will straighten it, and then once I put water, it goes back to be my natural hair. that is the versatility of the hair that God has given us. So, I'm really excited because now, and then you now have a lot of programs, you have a lot of conferences, you have a lot of exhibitions and shows that are showcasing a lot of, these things. There's Beauty in the Motherland that's coming up 30th to the 2nd. I'm going to be there doing a couple of things, and I love even, the title, Beauty in the Motherland. So there's so much happening. Now we are really rising up and saying, oh, we actually don't need to look outward. All we just need to do is look inward at the beauty that we have and just showcase it. So I'm excited at what's happening and where we're going. The potential is limitless. Absolutely. So yes. I'm a very shy person. Yeah, it may not seem like it, but I'm very shy. I promise. See, my sister of 30, I'm a very shy person, and I'm not very good when it comes to networking or meeting people. I can be very insular. So my advice, but the downside of that is you lose a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities when you don't build a solid network. You are just literally 1 degree removed from an opportunity that you're looking for, or a tool that you need, or a resource that is going to take your business to the next level. But the only way you can actually have those around you is when you actually build, you're intentional about your network. So I guess my advice to my younger self would be to come, just step out of that cocoon that you always, hide yourself in, and just, start to build earlier, because, I started to build later, which, it's better late than never, but, start to build early on and just learn to leverage, your relationships in a good way. So the first one, which is how you don't appreciate what it is that you have. Sometimes, because I didn't appreciate it, it took a friend to open my eyes to it. And this is, when I had said, it is always good to speak to your friends and people around you who are able to open up your eyes to even your blind spots. So you want to surround yourself with people who are true and who will tell you the truth and who are genuinely invested in your growth as a human being. Unfortunately, there's no rule or formula to make each one of us appreciate every single, because a lot of us are multi-talented and multi-gifted, but we are not even aware that those things are even gifts. It takes speaking to people, it takes somebody else pointing it out to you, it takes being very self-aware even sometimes, to even know that, oh, this thing that I have is actually, a gift that I can build upon, or is something that's even worth, doing. But, just ensure that don't talk down on you. One of the prayers that I pray a lot, is, God, help me see myself the way you see me. Because I feel like a lot of times we are so quick to talk down on ourselves. And we are so quick to, berate ourselves and just say you did this, you are that, the other. So, it's just a constant, God, show me, how do you see me, so that I can see me the way you see me. That way I am not limiting myself, through a lens that is too small compared to how it is that you have called me to be. So, I guess that's just to say a combination of continue to ask God to show you who you are and who he called you to be, and the gifts he has given to you. He will open your eyes to it. And then surround yourself with the people who love you and are invested or interested in ensuring that you realize the full potential of who you are. And be open to, criticism. Don't be too what's that word? Defensive. The minute somebody says something, your hackles are already up. So that's what I would say. The second part, which was Formal business training, yes. So yes, I did. Once I realized that I wanted to start this as a business, the first thing I did, I signed up for a couple of trainings. I went to Oprah Benson Beauty Training Institute to get my diploma in hairdressing. I then did a couple of short courses because of my background as a lawyer and all the different courses I had done, finance for or accounts for non-accountants, and all of that. I had, some sort of background when it came to certain aspects of the business. But for the other aspects that I thought I needed, I would definitely, I went for I've even lost track of a lot of them now, business courses that would teach me about, running a business, the finances of your business, how to work on your business as opposed to just working in your business, and a lot of that. So I did go through quite a bit of formal, I guess you would call it, training. A lot of it would be front-facing and some of it would be online. And then the final question, in terms of my balance, our figures, we do very well. We do. All thanks to God. I have to say this, there are days where I just look around me and I go on my knees and I'm in tears because I know how this thing started. I know the little broken girl that, wanted to do this and I didn't know had left from her right in this business. And God has just built this thing up to his own glory. So, we do very well. And I'll say, Abala, we're not in billions yet, but we are going there. I hope that answers the question.
Shaya, I have a question.
Okay.
So it says, how do you handle family members or friends that would want you to render free services for them?
No such thing exists in my business. So I won't come to your business and tell you to give me something for free. So why should you do that to me? Anybody, friend, ask her. She pays when she comes to do her hair. The only person that doesn't pay, and I'm the one that pays, is my mother. When I do my hair in the salon, I pay. When I get something from the salon, I pay. I bring out my card, because we don't take cash, I pay. When my mother comes and she does her hair, I pay. I want extensions, I pay. I want products, I pay. So there's nobody that is going to come and say, hey, why didn't you? Kojo, there's no such. We don't do such. Please. All right. So internal control. So one of the first things that we did was we stopped taking cash. So we became a completely cashless business. That was the first thing. And then, of course, we have the what's it called? The signs to show that, we don't take cash. And this is the only designated account number that you should be, transferring your money to. Then another thing that we did when it came to inventory was we made sure that the person who does procurement is not the person who is in charge of the store. Because in that is manipulation very easily can happen there. So we split that role. The person who is procuring does not manage the store as well. Another thing that we did is we have an automated inventory system that we use. And then that way we are able to track to see what is going where, whether it's going out to a customer, whether it's going in between locations, or whether it is being used in the salon. We do stock count twice a month. We have an accountant, so we do stock counts once on the 15th in-house, and then at the end of the month, the accountants come in and then they verify what it is that we counted on the 15th to ensure that everything works. Then because my business is, I don't want to use the word peculiar, but one of the ways I've realized that theft had happened was a client can come in, make her hair, and then she pays cash she pays to the front desk. The front desk will not enter it on the system. So, and then of course the money just disappears. So apart from just not collecting cash, another thing that we also did was I then created groups, WhatsApp groups for all stylists in each location. We have a scheduling system where this is where we book the clients, And then when the client comes, that's where we check the clients out. So at the end of the day, whatever work you have done as a stylist, you enter it into the group. Then I have somebody who then cross-checks what you have put in the group with what we have entered on the system to be sure that there's nothing missing. So everything. So if there's something that is in the book that is not on the system, that means something is missing somewhere. Exactly. So those are the things that we have done in terms of internal control and checks and balances. In terms of, well, I can do growth. The last 5 years, we've done between 5 years and now, we've definitely done about, I would say, 300% in the last 5 years. Yeah, at least 300%. Every summer, we have teenagers who sign up for 4 weeks, and then they learn the rudiments of hair making. Because I think we've gotten to a point in time where, again, it's not just about being a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or accountant. Right now, we have learned that unfortunately, we don't have enough vocational schools that will be able to teach. Because I honestly, I believe that not everybody needs to go to university. I truly believe that. I believe that if we have good vocational schools that are able to train people up in good skills, because a lot of those skills, that's what is contributing to the economy at the moment, But again, if we're able to actually properly systemize and harness it, and then that way, you're able to train people up, better. So that's what we do. The academy has been able to get an accreditation from the Federal Ministry of Education. So we're actually a vocational school in that regard, where you can come in and then you can do this, and then you get certified with a certificate that you can actually use anywhere in the world. So we definitely have plans for the young ones, because we can see that handwork, as they say, is the way of the future. So you can't just say you don't know how to do anything. You must learn how to do it. And we know that some people definitely want to then build upon that and create businesses out of that in the future.